Hello and welcome back to Chasing Green Arrows. Today we're going to be reviewing the biggest game of the weekend, Liverpool versus Arsenal. I have with me my co-host who's a bit sad today, Mr. Abraziz. How are you doing?
I'm okay, actually. Not a terrible performance. I mean, we fought hard. Liverpool is a better team, no doubt about that. We fought hard. I'm not disappointed per se. I'm a little upset, of course, we lost, but I'm okay with the way we performed.
Yeah, and Zoe, I have with me. He's a neutral for this game, but did you enjoy the game? What were your initial thoughts?
Man, I love the game. I've been waiting to speak to Don all day. All day I've been waiting to speak to him.
I mean,
He'll
yeah.
tell you, man, I've been messaging him throughout the day. He doesn't reply, bro. He's ghosting.
Bro, I've genuinely been busy today, but
honestly, the timing is very suspect. The timing is very, very suspect. That today of all days, you're busy. Like, I don't know, man. I don't see it. But you know what? If you say so, I'll believe you, bro. I'll give you this one. That's fine. All right, you were busy. You had work. You had errands. Okay, I believe you. But Musti, to answer your question, honestly, I thought it was a really good game. Liverpool, obviously, there's levels to this right now, and Liverpool are a level above Arsenal. But that being said, I do want to give a shout out. Arsenal did have good moments in the game. Yes, they got their goal against the run of play, but Arteta definitely has a clear vision and clear idea of what he wants. There's a project in place, and every time you see Arsenal play, they get better. There's no shame in losing to this Liverpool side. Had Arsenal won, it would have definitely been an upset. But at the same time, you could see that, if Laka could actually finish, this could have been a very different game. So I think it was really exciting. And obviously, it was Liverpool's game to lose, and then they closed it out. They put on a great performance. But Arsenal also, a lot to look forward to, even if they lost the game today.
Yeah, I agree
Absolutely.
with you. And normally these kind of games, you like in the recent years, Arsenal have been spanked, but like they actually competed till the end. They were in the game. Liverpool had their chances and everything, but I think Arsenal were in the game. And if Lacazette finished, it would have been a different story altogether, like you said. But yeah, so moving on, let's get straight into the player ratings. I'll start with Liverpool. So Zoe, you'll be handling Liverpool, and then Don, of course, Arsenal.
Yeah.
So for Liverpool, Zoe, let's start with goalkeeper Mr. Alisson.
So for Alisson, honestly, I thought he did a good job. He couldn't do anything. Could do anything for the first one. It was a crazy mistake by Robertson. Laka was in the perfect place to finish that off. It would have been a spectacular save had he pulled it off, but you really can't fault him for that one. I thought he really proved his worth. Showed why he is definitely one of the top 5 goalkeepers in the world with his performance in the second half. His performance, after that. Just really, keeping the door shut when it came to any Arsenal chances. Could Laka have done better? I think so, but as the goalie, you're going to save whatever comes to you, right? You can't be like, here's the ball back, take a better shot. For me, I think it was a 7.5 out of 10 sort of game for him. Got to dock some points for the goal he conceded, but overall, great performance.
7.5 for Alisson. And then moving on to the superstar right back, Trent Alexander-Arnold.
Loved Trent today. Loved him today. Thought he was great. He's just so creative, and he's such a threat when he's coming down the pitch. He's got pace, he's got whip, he's got everything, He can't defend the best, but fair enough, that was all right for today. He nailed an assist today, fullback to fullback assist, Liverpool specialty. So for me, I had Trent as an 8 today.
Trent as an 8. Yeah, like you said, defensively not the greatest, but that doesn't matter if you can attack like that. But Joe Gomez.
So Joe Gomez, honestly, I'm really liking the way this guy's developing, man. For the longest time, he looked like another bust. But having VVD alongside him has really, revitalized that entire back line, plus playing with fullbacks that are competent in the form of Alexander-Arnold and Robertson. Having a great goalie behind you helps. I thought that Gomez had a good game. Like I said, was solid when called upon.
Yeah, didn't have much to do, but yeah.
Didn't have much to do, but, tried to do right. I give him a 7 out of 10.
7 out of 10 for Gomez. And Virgil van Dijk.
So Virgil van Dijk, so VVD, same sort of thing as with Gomez. I don't think that they had all that much to do. There were a few plays where they could have done better. I thought they got beat a little bit easy, especially VVD got beat a little bit easy by Laka, by Arsenal's runners. But overall, solid performance. Not too much to, complain about, given that they only conceded that one goal. I'd give him a 7 out of 10 as well.
7 out of 10. And now the interesting one, Robertson made a mistake for the first goal, but then made up for it by scoring a goal. And he looked threatening throughout the game. So your thoughts, it was a very interesting performance, but your thoughts on Robertson?
Absolutely. So I'm going to give him a high score.
Yeah.
And I'm going to justify. I'm going to give him an 8 out of 10. I'm going to justify it that yes, he made a shocker of a mistake. It was a complete howler. How can a player of that caliber make that sort of error? But that being said, it would have been very easy for him to just drop his head and lose that intensity, lose that focus. But I thought that as soon as he conceded that own goal, made that mistake, basically, he he elevated to a different level. He had just pure steel, in his eyes that just turned into a killer. And he ran that flank. He ran the left flank. Right. I don't think Arsenal had any answers for him after that, and he made up for it. And he kept that intensity throughout the entire game. I think he's a top player. And that's why, for me, 8 out of 10. No issue.
Fair enough. If he made that mistake, if when Arsenal equalized, then you could give him a much lower score. But he made that mistake early on and then made up for it. So I think
That's it.
Yeah, that's fair enough. And then moving on to Fabinho, I thought he played really well. He soaked up the pressure, played really well in the midfield. Your thoughts on Fabinho?
I really like Fabinho. I rate him. I would have loved to get him at United. He's such a good, sort of defensive mid. He just cleans up well. He can drop back into your back line. And he's got great distribution, great positioning, doesn't get phased, and he's got a rocket of a foot as well. I thought he was great today. He did a lot of the dirty work, made sure that he was able to get the ball moving, get them playing out from deep. I have him at a 7.5 out of 10.
7.5. Okay, and moving on to Winnie Aldo.
Genie was good, man. Genie was good. Nothing spectacular. His finishing was a little bit wayward. I thought he could have been a little bit better in terms of keeping control in the midfield. I thought Liverpool's mid did get a little bit overrun by Arsenal. If you saw all the chances that Arsenal had, it was basically they were bypassing Liverpool's three in the middle. And I thought that Genie and Keita could have done better when it comes to that. But since we're talking about Genie, I have him at a 7 out of 10 today.
7 out of 10. And Keita, he didn't move forward as much, but he didn't attack as much. But your thoughts on him?
So for me, I think Keita I don't know, is he still finding his place in the team? Right now I find him to be the weakest link in their midfield. I know that he has a lot of natural ability. He's a great sort of player. But at the same time, I can only go off what I'm seeing right now. I thought he was, bullied off the ball a little bit, got pushed off a little bit easy, wasn't able to bring that physical presence. He's a small guy as well. And today I thought that he got outplayed a little bit. I have him at a 6.5.
6.5 for Keita. And I think, sorry, Don.
No, just very quickly. I mean, it'll be a straight swap with Keita out and Thiago in when Thiago is ready. So that's going to look so...
Yeah, definitely. I think Thiago picked up an injury, so he wasn't even on the bench.
There was a late... there was some issue. There was some kind of news about Alisson also not making it, which I was hoping for, but he passed a late fitness test. So I was like, damn it.
Yeah, that's it. It was the same sort of thing, that same news that it was on Thiago and Alisson. Essentially both were out, but then they brought Alisson back in. I guess Thiago they have the ability to be like, all right, no worries, you can take a little bit of extra time.
Yeah, and Mo Salah, it was crazy. The first goal, it was all him, I think. What are your thoughts on his performance? I still feel like this guy can score 4 or 5 goals a game, but he just misses a lot of chances.
Man, Salah is something else, bro. I know he catches a lot of heat, but I think any successful player catches heat. I love this game today. He skinned Tierney. Tierney is trash. I don't know what you guys are talking about. That Tierney is this, Tierney is that.
Yeah, he did have the better of Tierney today for sure.
That's it. But he ran circles around him. He ran circles
100%.
around him.
Unbelievable.
Unlucky not to score, but at the same time, very threatening. Creates a lot of chances by virtue of his act, him shooting or him setting up teammates. Can you make an argument that maybe he can be a little bit more sort of involved in bringing his teammates into play, like working more on assisting? But I think his game is what it is, and I think it's very successful in the context of this Liverpool team.
Yeah. He set up the first goal, so you saw a glimpse of that today.
Exactly. So for me, I have him at a 7.5. He's such a nice guy, man. How can you rate him badly? That's a nice guy.
No, I think he's an incredible player. Just like the positions he gets into, I just feel he can score more goals. But getting into those positions, also you have to give credit for that. So
that's it.
Yeah, definitely, I agree with that. And Roberto Firmino, your thoughts on him today?
I like Bobby's game today, man. I know I trash Bobby a lot for being a defensive midfielder playing as a striker, but honestly, his link-up play was good today. He really worked on bringing in the midfield runners. I liked his game. Obviously, we make jokes about him being so defensive-minded, but Liverpool's press starts with him, and he does such a good job. And I thought he did a great job against Arsenal today with the press. It was really intense. I'll talk about it later a bit, but I liked his game today. I want to see him shoot more. I want to see him become a genuine goal scoring threat, because can you imagine if the threat was coming from all three of those guys? It would give defenses such a different thing to think about. Right now you can kind of like, not sleep on Bobby, but you spend more time worrying about Salah and Mane. And I think that he definitely has the ability to, if he just maybe like a slight, change in approach to his game, I think he could be a killer. All that to say that I give him a 7 out of 10.
7 out of 10.
Yeah.
It provides the good foil, like the perfect foil for Salah and Mane. And then moving on to Mane, that's a red card, Don, or no? The elbow early on.
Sure, red man. 100% red card.
So he didn't get sent off, and then he scored, played well. So like you're reading.
Bro, ball don't lie. Ball don't lie. Ball don't lie. He didn't deserve to get sent off. The yellow was fine.
Yeah.
Stop being dramatic, Don.
I don't know, man. Any other team, any other player, that's a red.
Listen, mate. Clear and obvious errors would be called for. We live in a different day and age now. Take your issue up with the refs. Take your issue. But you know what? Be like Mourinho. Just donate to charity. Don't complain about the.
It could have been a red, but yeah, like I think either call there would have been debate. Yeah.
It's a 50-50, man. It's a 50-50. It could have been a red. It wasn't today. Yeah. It could be tomorrow.
Yeah.
Obviously, Donnie's a little bit biased in this case, as am I, just to rain on his parade a little bit.
As usual.
That's it, man. That's it. Like I said, Mane was killer today. I think he's probably Liverpool's best player, at least in the attacking department. Some of the things he does, just I don't understand. It's like, wow, like really, like his game has improved consistently over the past couple of years. When it could have been very easy for him to plateau because he was already high level. But yeah, he's a baller. I have him at an 8.5 out of 10.
8.5 for Mane. And just there's 2-3 subs, but I'll just talk about the guy who scored, Diogo Jota, on debut. He was in and about in that box. Salah like robbed him off a goal earlier before he scored. But your thoughts on Jota? He looked pretty impressive to me.
Honestly, he looked good. He's definitely benefiting from coming into a team that's playing well. That's the engine's oil, the cylinders are all firing together in sync. So it helps for that sort of for that sort of environment to be there for him to come into. But again, he was great, man. He's a smart guy. He's a great footballer. Like he played well for Wolves, and if he played well on a team like that, there's no reason for him not to play well even better on a team like Liverpool. And I think we're going to see great things out of him.
Yeah, and now the Liverpool have that depth, like with Jota and Thiago, so they look scarier this season. Like with that depth, now they look favorites to win the Premier League as well. Especially with City slipping up so early. So I feel the depth now makes Liverpool a scarier team.
For sure. Like they were already very good, and then just getting this top level talent, adding that depth just really, cements their position as favorites for now.
Yep, I think
they're going for that century, aren't they?
Well, they're
going for the 20th, 21st, and the Invincible season as well.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen.
But moving on, we wrapped up the Liverpool ratings. Now it's Don's turn. So you want to just make it all zeros, make it quick, or do you want to go into detail?
I'm gonna be a little harsh on a couple of my players for sure.
First, tell me if Arsenal won, you would say that they're title challengers, yes or no?
No, I would not. I promise you, I would not.
Not because even as banter.
As banter, 100%. Like I would have gone batshit crazy, you know that. But if you would have realistically spoken to me about it on a pod where we're discussing genuinely, I would have still told you top 4 is the target if we would have won today.
Yeah, but that top 4 does look realistic, especially like today's performance as a neutral. It did impress me. A lot of people are saying, yeah, Liverpool deserved to win. That's true, but I think it wasn't a bad performance.
Right, and there were a couple of performances. I don't think Tony is trash by any stretch of the imagination. Yes, he was coming back from an injury. He was a little bit off color. Definitely one of the weakest performances today by him, but I think he'll only get better. And then, like I said, of course, he had a poor. I mean, he had a couple of very good chances that he could have turned around, and especially that one which you one-on-one against a goalkeeper, you expect your top striker to score that. But we'll get to it, of course.
Yeah. Wait! Your top striker? He's your top striker now. I thought someone else was the best player on your team.
Well, he plays center forward for you, right? So,
okay.
Alba plays on the left wing.
We're talking about positions. Okay. I thought the best player on your team.
Oh, no. Alba is definitely my best player on the team. He had a poor game too today. Alba kind of had a poor game too today. So.
Alba was terrible today. Terrible. But I think, did he tweak something? I felt like he pulled something in the first half. He looked like he was a little bit limited, but I didn't see anything after the game.
There was, I mean, it just felt like the service wasn't good enough. As soon as Ceballos came on, there was a little bit more movement. I think that midfield was not the best midfield in terms of El Neni and Xhaka was not working out. So there's a couple of things that they need to think about, and it's like it's a one-off, with the limited resources that we had. I think we did a decent job. Definitely think that we need Awar coming in. I think he'll really add that, especially considering we're not going to consider Ozil or whatever, if that's not happening. Willian was in and out, so that's kind of not helpful. Willian does that sometimes in big games. He just completely disappears. True. So there were small issues here and there, and if we can kind of fine-tune that, I think we have a good chance to make that top four.
So let me ask you a question. I think if Awar does come in, and you guys are shortchanging Lyon, do you guys switch to a 4-3-3 as your standard?
Yeah.
Instead of playing 3 at the back, because Holding is terrible.
Yeah. Yeah, he's not terrible, but he's a better off at that. I don't think he'll play in a 4-3-3 formation, but as a 3 at the back, I think he's okay. And I think even today, yes, he was pressurized by Mane in several occasions, no doubt about that. But I think he wasn't terrible. I think Tierney on the other side had more trouble than Holding did. So that's just my.
I think what Holding really suffered from was the fact that Bellerin just decided to take complete day off.
Yeah. Bellerin had a poor game too, sort of. Yeah, he was a little bit okay. He was kind of okay going forward. He had 2 foul throws. This doesn't make any sense. But
yes,
I can't accept having 2 foul throws in one game. That's crazy.
But yeah.
Let's get on to the ratings.
We'll let's crack on with the numbers. Leno in goal.
I think he was busy early on, for sure. He was busy early on against the run of play. We went up 1-0, but he was busy early on. I think when he was called upon, he did a decent job. I just felt like he could have done a little bit more in trying to stop that properly with that kind of cross from Salah, that properly so that Mane wouldn't have got that easy tap in. Robertson wouldn't have got that easy tap in. But overall, I think he was okay. I'll give him a 6.5.
6.5. Yeah, his distribution was a bit off, I feel, but yeah.
Yeah.
And then Rob Holding.
Hold up. You gave him a 6.5. He ate 3 goals.
Yeah, but I think he was okay. I mean, some of the goals you can't really do much about some top level finishing. Like Jota's finish was pretty good, so can't do much about that. Although I thought handball for Jota also. Mane red card not given. A lot of issues there, but we can get into the.
Bro, was the grass too high as well?
I think so.
Should they have cut it lower?
Man. But anyway, 6.5. I think he was our better player, but I think I'll stick with 6.5. Even though Zoe is fighting that, I'm not gonna change that opinion.
Definitely, yeah.
But Rob Holding. I think Rob Holding did get troubled by Mane a little bit. It added to the fact that Bellerin was a little bit off today, for sure, like we discussed. But overall, I think, yes, he could have done much better in certain aspects of the thing. But I think overall, not terrible. I think Tierney had a poorer game, so I'll give him a 6.
6. And moving on to David Luiz.
He's coming back from an injury. He also just played a few days back. He coming back from an injury. I think he was okay. He was our best defender of the lot, of the 4 or 5 that we played with. He was whenever called upon, I think he was pretty immense in his presence.
He had a bit of issues when they were pressing him, when the Liverpool attack was pressing him.
And that was a whole backline in general. There was a lot of things. Few times we came out okay, few times we had these issues, but overall I think David Luiz did okay. And this is kind of like it's a work in progress. I think this will give this team a lot of learnings to kind of take from and move on in the next game. So I think David Luiz was okay. I'll give him a 6.5 again. Maybe a little bit lenient, but I think I'll give him a 6.5.
David Luiz and Kieran Tierney, Salah ran circles around him, like Zoe said. But yeah, your thoughts on his performance and your rating?
Coming back from an injury, I think he had a very poor game today. One of his worst in an Arsenal t-shirt, I think. But I rate him highly. I think he's he was just off pace a little bit today. Maybe hasn't trained enough. And kind of Salah is super quick, and I mean he's made many defenders look bad. I mean, I don't think Tierney's as bad as he was shown out to be today. I think he'll definitely improve for sure. But today, based off of only today's performance, it was poor. I'm gonna give him I want to give him a 4, but I'm going to give him a 5.
There's some bias there, but fair enough. He learned from this performance.
Yeah.
And Bellerin, he was at fault, I think, for both games. Yeah, I don't know, you're sleeping or something for the first two
Yeah,
goals.
no, poor again. Overall, very just generally, he was a little slightly better attacking wise, but defensively very poor in a lot of places. He was shown he was lackluster. He was not covering it properly. Okay performance. I mean, not okay, a little bit less than okay. So I'm just gonna give him 5 and just move on from that one.
Yeah.
You know what hurts about Bellerin is
He
that
has
Bellerin
talent.
genuinely has the talent,
Yeah,
genuinely
yeah,
has the talent to be an elite level, two-way player going forward
yeah,
and defensively. He
yeah.
has the pace. I just feel that he's not dialed in on a mental level. Like when he shows up, he's good, but those
Yeah.
games are getting fewer and fewer and further in between, you know?
Yeah, I just think that there's something about that injury that he's. I mean, you when come back from an ACL, it's kind of hard always. That it takes a long time to really come out of it, and you're a little bit. I think he's still not completely out of it in terms of his. It takes a toll on your mental state. It's with Rob Holding and with Bellerin and with Callum Chambers coming in. We have three of our decent defenders kind of coming after an ACL. That takes a while to really get. You're a little bit scared. When you take that extra little bit of a lunge. Someone like
For
a
sure.
Virgil van Dijk will just go all guns blazing, and those kind of efforts I see sometimes lacking. But I just think it's a mentality thing. I think when he plays for 6 months continuously, I think he'll start getting that
Do
level back. I
you
think.
do you know if Arsenal has a sports psychologist? Because I feel that would be something that might be helpful to these guys. I don't know.
I think they do. I
Yeah,
think
I'm
they have
sure.
one in
Like a
there.
lot of
Yeah.
teams have it.
I know for a fact that they do. I can't remember his name, but I think I was reading about him, and he's pretty good. They say, but it still will take a little bit of time for both
For
of these
sure.
guys to come out of that. So I think that's what it is.
Yeah, and I think we're on El Neni now. Muhammad El Neni.
Defensively, I thought he did okay. I think he was okay when needed, when called upon in terms of the defensive aspects of things, but his transition play needs a lot of work. I mean, it's several instances it just looked like we were not able to roll the play around from our defense to the attack, and that was a lot of it was going on Zaka's shoulders, which is difficult for him, which turned out to be a little bit difficult for him to take care of. So he was just looking for those sideways backward passes, which I don't like your midfielder to do. So that's kind of why I was a little bit upset with his performance in terms of the transition, but I think defensively he was okay. So I'll give him a 5.5.
5.5, fair enough. And Granit Xhaka, talking about him.
I think he was better. I think he was good. He
got outrun a bit though, right? Like
he definitely got outrun a bit, but I think he was taking a lot of the mantle of trying to like shift the ball from defense to attack, and he tried pretty hard. It was just like he was the lone man kind of standing, and that's why he got substituted by Ceballos also, because I think they needed that little bit more creativity, because he was trying to do that, but he wasn't able to do it enough. But I think for what he brought to the team in terms of just trying to like make do with what he has as a personality and as a player, I think I'll give him a 6 on 10 for that. I think he had an okay game today.
Okay, 6 out of 10. And then Maitland-Niles?
A lot of talent. I thought he struggled a little bit today. I think a lot of times, a couple of times Salah ran past him as well. And even attacking wise, I think he was hitting the first defender way too many times and trying to cross it and trying to like pass the ball around. I think that's kind of something that he will learn from also. I think a little bit of a poor game today, 5.5.
Yeah. And Willian, kind of a no-show today. Were you disappointed with his performance?
Yeah, Willian does that sometimes. You've seen that at Chelsea also. Like he'll have like a great game, and then suddenly for a couple of games he's just not there, really not there. Defensively, though, I thought in a couple of times he did a decent job running back and trying to help the defenders out. I thought he did a good job over there. I'm going to give him a half extra point for that. But I think overall, I think attacking wise really showed nothing almost, and was substituted early as well. So I think 5 on 10. I didn't think he had a good game at all.
Yeah, and Casper, the friendly ghost, Aubameyang, invisible today, best player, best goal striker in the league. I'm not being sarcastic. He is one of the best strikers, but
yeah. No, but he was unavailable today. But a lot of that had to do with the fact that he didn't get
unavailable, huh?
Out of office, bro. Out of office.
Not a big game player. You think the pressure got to him? Anfield?
He's a big game player, I think, but pressure didn't. I think a lot of that had to do with the service. I think he was not because Maitland-Niles had a poor game, because Xhaka was not able to provide attacking wise in terms of
So it's
transition.
the
I think
service you're
it
saying.
was just like almost non-existent service. It's easy to say that he had 0 shots on target, but I don't think he had many chances to create also. Like, he didn't get too much of the ball. He was invisible today, yes, for sure, but that was also a lot of it had to do with the team not
The service,
supplying. Yeah, so it's hard for me. I mean, is this because it's Aubameyang?
Yeah,
I mean,
we've seen this happen before as well. When Arsenal have lost games, even last season, we've seen like he didn't get the. That's why he's a no-show. He didn't get the
Yeah.
service. So I agree.
If you give him half a chance, he'll score. Like there's no doubt about it. But he didn't get anything today. It was just like there was nothing at all in there. So
yeah, I agree. I agree with that. But moving on, this other guy got a lot. He got a gift. He scored it, but then after that, missed a couple of sitters. I call him the French Darren Bent. I think I was kind of proved right today, but he scored because Darren Bent scores goals as well. Okay, so
I think that's a bit harsh. I think he's a great player.
What, to Bent?
Huh?
What is it, harsh to Bent?
Man, I can't wait for one of these United podcasts. Hold on, wait for it. You guys have the upper hand today. I can't really fight much, but yeah. Yeah, I mean, poor performance. There's no two ways about it. He should have really finished that, especially that second chance, 1-on-1 against a goalkeeper. You just have to finish as your premier striker.
With the game plan the Arsenal went with, that was required, especially when you had it like exactly. That was required
against a big team like Liverpool, who's in their prime. This is like the most. I mean, this is the best Liverpool side. This is the best side in the Premier League right now, right? You cannot let go of those kind of chances. You get a very few. You have to convert it. 2-2 at that spot with 10 minutes to go, a lot could be different.
Yeah.
Because I think after that, not 10 minutes, I think it's 15 minutes to go. But like after that, it was just, I think there's nothing else after that. Again, he got substituted quickly after that as well. But
yeah, we saw like Arsenal, because Liverpool were missing chances, then Arsenal started to become threatening as the game went on. So if they scored, it would have definitely been game on.
At 2-2, game on, absolutely, because Liverpool would have pressed and that would have given more chances for us on the counter.
Sure.
So that's kind of what I really like. It was so important to get that second goal, and 2-2 would have been great.
Yeah.
So that's why I think, to a very large extent, he cost us the game. Although he scored the goal,
yeah.
I have to be very, very harsh on him. I have to give him a 4. I think.
I didn't expect that. I didn't expect that.
All right.
I want to give him a 5, but I have to give him a 4 because really that was like the turning point in that game, right? That
I didn't expect that
to finish that.
Yeah.
I know. I can't expect that. I'm saying that too.
Yeah.
I'd give him I want to give him a 5 because he scored the goal, right?
But you're going, yeah. Fair enough.
I have to, yeah.
You're being truthful, speaking your heart. I like that.
Yeah, he has to finish that. Tierney had a poor game. I think Tierney and Laka were my guys.
I was going to ask you, but yeah, the worst players.
A little bit, yeah. These are my guys who disappointed a lot.
Yeah.
And in terms of the better player today, I think Xhaka, although he didn't show much, I think he did a decent job. And then David Luiz also, I think he did okay whenever called upon. Even though we scored 3 goals, Liverpool scored 3 goals. I think it was just he did okay when needed. So,
yeah, and just talking about the bench, I think he was the best player in the game.
I think Ceballos.
Ceballos. I think he was the best player in the game. He changed it up. They got chances after that.
It was his beautiful pass that opened up for Laka as well. Like that just exquisite Fabregas kind of pass. Like you remember Fabregas of the old, like just 2 or 3 guys just silk it through that. It's a beautiful pass.
He got Arsenal right back into the game. I felt that they were going to score.
Breaks my heart every time I think about that. Such a beautiful pass, and then Laka misses it. It's just but yeah, I think Ceballos is definitely the best player. I think he completely changed the dynamics of the game as soon as he came on. I'm gonna give him a 7 or 10. I think he did enough to create. He did enough to do what was required off of him, and then unfortunately Laka didn't finish. But I gave him a 7 and 10. I think he was the best player for Arsenal.
Yeah, and rating the manager, Arteta at the wheel.
I think Arteta did okay overall. Like I think, he put out the team based off of the resources that he has. I think he did a decent job. I think maybe starting Ceballos would make sense over maybe in Elneny. Over an Elneny. But I think the fact that Ceballos is kind of integrating himself into this team. I think apparently he picked up a little bit of a niggle, but he's integrated himself okay. I think he'll start now moving forward. He put out the best team that he has, kind of based on the resources he had. I think I'd give him a 7.5.
7.5. I think some very fair points. I agree with a lot of what you said, Don. It was a tough loss to take, but at the end of the day, it was a good performance from Arsenal.
Yeah.
Not a bad performance.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. I'm very thrilled by the way that with what we kind of came across, a very strong Liverpool side. I mean, hats off to Liverpool, man. This team is looking solid, right? You know, they definitely going for that century. They look they might retain this Premier League very easily. But because City is also slipping up, I don't see Chelsea challenging as hard because Chelsea had a poor game in the weekend as well. You
yeah.
know, so there's no one else really that's going to threaten that shot for them at the title. So these guys will go out and win this league today, this year, I think easily. But I'm happy with the improvement that we've shown over the past 6-8 months. I mean, that's kind of, you have to be better than what you were in the last game. We did that. I think that's why I'm happy.
Yep. And just to wrap things up, so your man of the match for Liverpool and Klopp's rating.
Man of the match has to be Mane. Man of the
Mane,
match has to be Mane for me. And Klopp, you know what? I'm gonna give no issues. I'm gonna give Klopp an 8 out of 10. I'd give him higher, but you know, it's not even his fault he couldn't start Thiago. I think that Thiago coming in brings this team up to another level. I think it addresses some of the issues we saw. I mean, also, Hendo wasn't playing. Hendo's a big guy for them. A couple of quick observations. So Klopp 8 out of 10. Like I said, for me, Liverpool's press is crazy. It's so intense. It does create opportunities if you're able to bypass them, like we saw with Arsenal, especially when Ceballos came on. Those balls past the midfield that just dissected everything, and just Laka was able to run onto them. Those really were beautiful to see, and it deserved a better finish. And really, really, man, like Laka needs to do better, especially like in a game like today where you're being stifled, you're being pinned back. You're only going to have a few chances. You're not able to get your best player involved in the game. Alba was having an off game for a number of reasons. You got to take that, responsibility on your shoulders and be like, you know what? I got to help my team out. I'm actually getting free. I'm having a decent opportunity. I'm on a bit of a run of form. I need to bury these chances, man. And like, if he does that, like I said about Bobby, right? Like Bobby, it doesn't matter that much because you have Mane and Salah that are genuine goal scoring threats. But when you look at the Arsenal front line, it's pretty much Alba as the main guy, and then Laka, and then depending on who else is playing, it's those aren't consistent options. But if Laka became, let's say, like even scoring like, let's say, 15 goals a season, that changes the dynamic, and I think it creates more opportunities for Arsenal, and it would just make Arsenal so much more threatening. And it's just a shame because the ability is there, and I believe in my guy, but he just disappoints me season in, season out.
I also believed in Darren Bent when he scored the beach ball goal.
I mean,
to be very honest with you, like United also have players like that, like Rashford also not as clinical and everything, and I just feel
whoa. Listen, Rashford is miles above Lacazette. Relax.
No,
I'm
just giving you my opinion. I don't think he's as clinical as he should be, but I feel that Arsenal have a clinical player there in Aubameyang. I think he should play up front and he'll get you the goals. That's it's just a personal opinion, but I could be proven wrong next week if Lacazette scores a hat-trick.
And they should play two at the front, bro. And Alba two at the front.
Yeah, that's something that Alba kind of tries to come back in the middle, but you really need that creative force in the middle. Once you just wait for that creative force, that that kind of you need that transition to happen quickly, and it needs to happen with someone like a Ceballos or like or you play a Mesut Ozil, get him on for 20 minutes, do something.
Bro, you want prime Ozil?
Yeah,
you prime Ozil. This team title challenges. I'm telling you, if you have prime Ozil, title challenges.
Yeah.
The problem is we don't have that. And even after OR coming in, I don't think that he brings in that kind of yes, he will improve this team, and that's when he does come in, I think we'll make top 4 easily, I think, comparatively. But there's an issue over there, and that needs to be addressed. I know Arteta knows about that, and there's a lot of rumors that there's a lot of bids being made. The Leon president's coming out and talking a lot of nonsense, of course, at this point, but that's what he does usually. But that does mean that there's some interest and there's some movement happening, and it's 1 week left. Arsenal know what they need. United know what they need. It's just a matter of going and getting it.
We're not signing anyone, don't worry.
Yeah.
So
our team is perfect as is. I can't believe you said that. Which team is gonna? There's no team that can challenge this Liverpool team, and you just left out my United, bro. I understand your bias. Fine. fine. I'll let it slide. It's okay. It's okay.
Oh man,
Yeah.
that'll take a whole nother pod.
For sure. But yeah, I think of final thoughts for me. I think Arsenal look like a top 4 team. Liverpool look like a champion winning team. So that's what we can take away from this game. But if you guys have any final thoughts, let me know. But I think like we covered a lot of bases today.
Yeah, I'm good, man.
I think a lot of emotions came out in that discussion. I'm sorry, Lacazette, but it was very upsetting. I just like broke my heart to say that, but it is what it is.
No worries. But thank you so much for joining me, guys. Hope to see you guys soon. Take care and have a good night.
Yep.
Take it easy, man.